Dools.
As
Ben Affleck is back in Gavin O'Connor's inspirational sport drama, The Way Back. We've seen it, we're reviewing it, but Dools, just roll the intro. Welcome, one and all, to another episode of the Mall Cops on Duty podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Harry. With me, of course, is the Matt Damon to my Ben Affleck, Edward.
wow,
Dools.
I get to be Will Hunting. I appreciate that. I mean, I am the slightly smarter of the two in this scenario, but I mean, I wasn't expecting you to admit it, but I'll take it. I'll happily take it. I guess you get to be Batman. That's the trade-off.
Yeah, and Daredevil.
Well, I don't know if you want that second one, but sure. And I could be Dr. Man. I can be Dr. Man as well. I can be the guy that nearly single-handedly jeopardizes the future of humanity in Chris Nolan's Interstellar. Yeah, I'm going well, Haz. How are you?
Mate, I'm going well. Isolation's still going, but, you know, we got to do what we got to do. Can't really complain about it. You know, we've got a lot better off than most. So,
of course.
All we got to do is just keep watching movies, keep playing games, and keep talking about it, really. That's how I see it.
I mean, look, it's the easiest job ever. But someone's got to do it, and that's us.
Yeah, we were chosen by God. He handpicked both of us, just like the Blues Brothers. We're on a mission from God. But Dools, let's say that an average Joe stumbles upon the Mall Cops on Duty podcast and has no idea what it's about. What do you tell them?
I'd first just be so curious as to how average Joe or Joe average? I mean, you know, first of all, sir, where are you from? Why did your parents name you the way they named you? And, you know, how on earth did you find this podcast? I mean, you must have gone into the archives. You must have just dug deep. I'd want to interview this man. I'd want to survey him. I'd want to, you know, explore his mind and just try and figure out, you know, like what triggered him to just go down the rabbit hole of irrelevant film podcasts and find us. And saying that, Haz, you know, this is a podcast about films, TV games, you know, and whatever else makes sense at the time that we want to talk about. And, you know, we're on the social, Twitter, Instagram. Now YouTube, as we've been promoting in the past couple of episodes, has graciously spent a chunk of his isolated time getting us up and running on YouTube. Thanks, Haz. And
no worries.
The podcast itself is, of course, available on most podcast services, major podcast services, Spotify, Podbean, Apple Podcasts, and I mean, pretty much. But I mean, Podbean is, as we've discussed, like a big distributor to platforms, isn't it? Yeah. So we're everywhere. You can find us.
Nice. As Dools said, we are the internet's number one gaming, film, and TV podcast. We post twice a week. So Wednesday you get your normal show, and then Friday you'll get your spin-off sort of conversational show. So away from the news and reviews, if we're reviewing something, which we normally would be like we are today, this is what this show's for. And Dools, today we are reviewing Gavin O'Connor's The Way Back. Now, I'm a big Gavin O'Connor fan, mainly because of Warrior. I think Warrior is one of the best films made in the last 10 years.
Oh, interesting.
Ben Affleck is a main drawing point for me as well, like for this film. Like, I'm just going through, like, when I first saw the trailer for this film months and months ago. It definitely looks like a Coach Carter sort of take. But Ben Affleck is perfect for the role because this looks like his normal life. And Gavin O'Connor, he loves these like inspirational sport films. So I knew it was like a recipe for something good.
I mean, we know Ben Affleck has an alcohol problem, whether it's to the extent and to the
Have you seen the videos?
Sorry?
Have you seen the videos?
The videos of Affleck? In real life?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
What,
Oh, you should.
Oh, so...
Yo, it's fucking identical.
Oh, really? Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I believe you. Yeah, okay. Well,
not that we want to, you know, advocate that he's
No.
He's like from what we've seen, it seems like he's fixed it.
Yeah, well, that's very good to hear. Yeah, so I think I haven't seen. No, I have seen Warrior, but a long time ago. But that makes a lot of sense because I only I'm not really too familiar with this director. I know the last film of his I saw, which he also partnered with Ben on, was The Accountant, and but I didn't know he did Warrior. That makes a bit more sense and is interesting because of course they're related in the sense that they're technically sports dramas, and even though I would say the sport is definitely more sidelined as opposed to compared to Ben's character's journey in this. But it's nonetheless a major factor. So, Haz, right off the bat, or right off the hoop, sir, what do you think?
I really liked it. I thought it was really, really good. I thought Ben Affleck did a great performance. I feel like the story was a bit predictable at times. In particular, why Ben is how he is. I picked that early. But that doesn't mean that that's not a downfall. Okay, I always go back to, if I've seen movies that present not a really original idea, I always go back to this quote by Steve Jobs of, it's not about who does it first, it's about who does it best. And they did it really well. The story around Ben's character and his absolute downfalls in life and all these tragedies that he's witnessed and been a part of into the present time. I fucking felt for him, man. Throughout the whole movie, it's he keeps drinking and you start being disappointed in him, but then you're like, no, he's already disappointed in himself, so you can't really feel that way. He knows what he's doing throughout the whole movie, and the whole idea that this team is basically a rehab for him, is therapy for him, for his past tragedies that he's gone through, and his past missed opportunities with basketball. I thought the team was very much on the back burner in terms of character wise, except for one particular character who was fine. But Ben Affleck absolutely was, as you said, was the main focus of this story. The basketball was very much sidelined. But in saying that, I really liked it. I thought they did a really good job. I don't think it's near Warrior at all. Warrior, I think, is
Warrior is something special. Yeah.
Yeah. Warrior is, but that's an unfair comparison, because that's a near perfect sports movie.
Yeah, quite different films.
Yeah, and it's unfair to compare to such a creme de la creme of a film. But in saying that, it stands amongst the very good sports films for me.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with everything you said. That's interesting that you picked up on the reason. So I mean, we'll just go into spoiler territory now.
If you haven't seen this film, please go watch it. It's pretty cheap rent on Google Play at the moment. I think it's only $7.99.
Yeah.
So pick it up, watch it. You'll enjoy it. Just another film to watch during isolation. So enjoy it and come back.
You can share your Google login with someone else. I mean, you could all pitch in. I think I mean, it's pretty universal. I mean, if you share your Google login, you could create a fake Gmail, honestly, just to quickly rent it and share it with a few people so you can, the more the merrier, can enjoy the film.
You're welcome, Dools.
Thanks, Az. So, yeah, well, that's interesting that you picked up on the fact that, because I was certain there was more to the story. At first, I thought his alcoholism was potentially, just due to a really rough marriage that broke down towards the end, but obviously there was more to it. So you picked the death of his child before? Because, I mean, the first trigger for me was when they were at those batting cages at that other kid's party, and they explicitly say, oh, this is Michael's dad, and that was the first explicit mention that, oh, no, he did have a kid. And so I was thrown off by that. I didn't call that at all. But you picked that?
Yeah, there was the line that was before that earlier where someone asked him, do you have a kid? And he goes, no. I was like, why would they specifically focus on that? I think he doesn't anymore.
Oh, I didn't pay any mind to that because this was a reverend at this school that Jack attended. I mean, he was just asking questions. I mean, a pretty natural follow up at that stage in his life. Like, oh, you married? Oh, you have kids? I didn't, but yeah, that's fair enough. I guess you paid more perceptive that it has. I guess he was quite short.
It wasn't just the answer. It was exactly how he said it. He goes, are you married? Do you have kids? He goes, separated. He goes, are you married? Separated. He goes, do you have kids? He goes, no.
Yeah.
Like he took a pause.
Yeah, no.
And I was just like, something's there.
Yeah, no. Well, that's cool. You picked up on that. I think definitely Ben was probably trying to convey that kind of like, there's more to this than meets the eye. So yeah, that was gut wrenching to realize about the character, and almost like definitely not on this level, but I definitely drew a comparison to funnily enough, his brother's performance in Manchester by the Sea, where it's just like the film then out of nowhere finally explains to you why he's the way he is, why he's depressed, why he's this mess of a human being. And of course that film was far more impactful. Like, goodness me, when you realize what it was that he did, it's unfathomable. So obviously he's not responsible for his son's death, like in that scenario. You can piece it together that later on that it was from cancer, so obviously outside of anyone's control. And there was another particularly heartbreaking scene where he's rushes over to the hospital because his friend, whose son is also or was a friend of Michael's, is now unfortunately in hospital as well, and has been diagnosed with cancer. And you just see Ben's character Jack just break down and be like, because he obviously just would have been having flashbacks. It all would have been coming back in that very moment, like him being transported back to that hospital room, having the news broken to him for the first time. And of course he understandably just broke down and just went to the bar. And this was at a point where he'd seemingly, his character had, reached a turning point, and he'd been really focused on the basketball. And you would even see him at work during the day at his other job, that he would be, kind of like, instead of drinking beer in his thermos, which was hilarious. He would be drafting up, as you said, like plays, like different plays and strategies for the game, and he was obviously really invested in it. But then it was just this trigger that just sent him back into this downward spiral, and it was really unfortunate to see. You say it's predictable, and I would agree that it was largely a predictable plot, except for the parts where, I thought they'd do a cliche kind of like, oh, he's come back to watch the final game, or he's come back in the last. Right. Yeah, you're right. He's come back in the last quarter just to like give them one more final amp up, one more speech, like chip on the shoulder kind of thing. And I was actually a little disappointed that they didn't follow through on that cliche, because I'm a sucker for that shit. It's like, fuck yeah, so like, here we go. Time. It's the final thing, because he wasn't even at the game. He wasn't even there, just watching from, I thought we'd maybe see Brandon or someone look in the stands, and he'd be sitting up in the back clapping or something. And so I would have liked that, but I get, like, you can't do everything by the book, otherwise it's just another unoriginal film. But so I mean, in terms of performances, largely an unknown cast. I think Ben's the only actor I recognised. How about you? I
recognised the priest off. Like, I recognised him. I'll look up where he's from.
So, and I guess,
but other than that,
I guess also the actress who plays Jack's ex-wife, who I've only actually seen in video games before. So I guess depending on which way you look at it, is a step up for her career. But she, not to any fault of her own or her talent, I don't think had much of an impact on screen, simply because they didn't flesh out her character much, and she was in the film for a total of 15-20 minutes maybe, if that. So I mean, Ben was really the one dominating the screen. I mean, it was very much like a one-man show, almost, like this film. Like, I don't think were there even any scenes that Ben wasn't in? I can't even think of one. I mean, maybe when I don't know. There'd be like little moments after a scene with Ben that maybe the assistant coach was speaking to the Reverend or something, but it was always a fleeting moment. So, I mean, Ben, I think, was really driving this thing. And that's why I think, because there were, again, not to discredit the rest of the cast, but no real other standout performances, simply because it was Ben's.
It was Ben's show.
It was all Affleck. And, I mean, the guy is obviously a talented director. I mean, who could forget Argo? Best Picture winner. And
Gone Girl.
And did he? No, he didn't get best. Or did he get best director? Or he just got Best Picture.
He didn't get nominated for best director, and that was like a massive snub that year.
That's always bizarre when they do that. So yeah, no, so I was just completely floored by his performance. I think as you said, well, I mean, I'm curious about these videos of him in real life. I don't think I'll be able to not look them up, and maybe draw some comparisons. But I think this would be, and he's already talked about this at length in some interviews months ago when the film came out in theaters, because it was one of those films that came out at an awkward time, had a semi-theatrical release, and then was quickly put on VOD. But he did speak about how this was largely informed by life experiences and his own troubles, and I think that can kind of shine through the performance. Like it just felt like I was watching Ben Affleck, but he was still putting on a really good performance. So it
felt really real.
Yeah, I mean, should we talk about so just like the basketball in general and his journey with the team and his impact on the team and the players themselves?
For sure, but before we do that, Dools, can we just quickly make reference to the absolute sheer size of Ben Affleck in this film?
Oh, dude,
he's still Batman.
He's still a monster. It's hilarious. He's
seeing him button up that shirt.
He's Batman with a beer gut in this, but it's still awesome. Like he would still fucking rip you in half. I'm really gonna miss his portrayal of Batman, because I think very close to Frank Miller's portrayal, just a big hulking brute of a Batman. I love it.
Yeah, I agree. I thought he was a great Batman. He just had poor direction, personally. That's just my opinion of him. But absolutely, let's get into the basketball. I loved his relationship with this team. I thought it was brilliant. Like down to I can't remember the player's name specifically, but the kid that keeps on hooking up with random girls.
Yeah.
I'll get it.
You'll get it. Okay. Yeah. So.
By the way, sorry. Just so I've got it up on my screen. The priest is played by the head priest. Sorry, is played by a man named John Aylwood, and he was in Armageddon. That's why I recognized him.
Wow, deep cut. I don't think I've actually seen Armageddon yet. Has.
Oh, Dools, you need to see Armageddon.
From what I understand, is it that important? But I mean, perhaps.
Yes. It's Ben Affleck.
Oh yeah, true. So yeah, I guess the main players of it, there's a full team there, but you only really get to know 3 or 4 of them somewhat well. The first being Brandon, who is at first quickly recognized by Ben to be the best player on the team. And is later then promoted to captain because he was, and Ben made this explicitly clear to him, like, you're the only one who really gets the game. Like, you get on another level than other people do. Like, I see you mumble under your breath, oh, you got to do this way, to his teammates and et cetera and so on. And he's like, so, if I made you captain, would you tell these guys to haul ass? Would you tell them to do what they need to do to make the right play? He's like, well, if I was captain, and it's just like, okay, well, sweet, you're captain then. And so, I mean, like, he was really, what I enjoyed was that, while he might have been going backwards in life at this moment, he was pushing these kids forward. And, there were some funny interactions with, because Jack was pretty colourful on the court, with his language, and this is like a very Catholic, school.
The team chaplain.
Yeah. So the team chaplain, so he just be like, come on, man, like, I thought the priest was being a bit uptight at first. And I'm like, dude, like, they get that, he's just passionate or whatever. Like, do the words really matter? And then, but I think he said one parting thing to Ben on that first bus ride back after, I think, the first away game. And he said, don't underestimate the impact you have on these boys. And Ben was kind of like, that shut him up a bit. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's fair enough. It was like, so,
true.
Yeah, and then I think another player who I keep calling him Jack Cunningham is the character. Who initially cut from the team because he, the guy was a bit of a smart ass and he was late to training one day and So I mean, but ultimately we learn. So I think that was that Martin or Bradley?
Marcus.
So, but this guy, he shows up at Jack's house and spins a tale that, my mum doesn't want me hanging around home or whatever after school when she's at work. So ball was the only thing keeping me preoccupied. And Ben, seeing through his lie, but kind of like teasing him, was like, well, if it's just about finding something to do after school, I'm sure Mr. What's his name? I think the assistant coach can sort you out with a study hall or something. And kind of just shuts him down, and then there slams the door in his face. And then the guy, kind of just semi-breaks down and was like, no, like, this is all that I'm good at. And, Jack gives him a second chance. And there are a lot of those moments strewn throughout the film that, it's just about him uplifting others, but at the same time, he's still burdened by this pain and suffering. And but he was still able to help others, when they needed it. But, I mean, how did you perceive his relationship with the team?
I loved it because at first it was just very much like he was being a very dominant sort of figure. Like he was just making himself the fucking boss. Like there was the moment where he was talking shit to Marcus, where he said like how many threes did he throw? And he said like 60 or something last year. And he's like, yeah. He goes, from how many? He goes, 150. He goes, what's that percentage? He's like 28 or something. And he's just like, you wonder why they don't pass you because they don't think that you can hit the ocean from the beach.
Yep.
Which is a great call.
Yeah.
Great call. And this other guy goes, oh man, coach just burned you. He just stares at the guy. He goes, I don't need you.
Yeah,
awesome.
I don't need your help.
Like,
the way he stared him down with that deep voice, I was like, fuck, Batman just creeped out there for a second.
yeah, it did. You could tell how much he loved, is it Brandon?
Brandon is the captain, yeah.
You could just tell how much he really like respected him and saw. I felt like he took him under his wing, like he was his son in a way. And even like I love that scene where he goes to the.
Well, actually, sorry if I could just interrupt you for a second. I don't think it was more that he was his son. I think he saw him as himself when he was his age, because he was kind of kind of saying like, he went and sought out this guy's dad at his work to say like, look, like. Your son is like really good at basketball and he's really serious about it as well. And he's getting all these scholarships coming in. These are full rides. Like, you really shouldn't be ignoring this. And that was something that he did. And, Jack tells Brandon how, he was getting all those same kind of offers when he was his age, but turned them down because he realized that his father was only interested in him because he was good at basketball. And so when he kind of turned to, when he kind of like, turned down that scholarship, he quickly realized that, his own father was just interested in him because he was, a promising athlete. And so kind of did it despite his father, ruined his chance at a future in basketball because of it. But he even though he did it despite his dad, he probably still would have had a love for the game himself, and so probably regrets it, and that's why he was pushing Brandon, like, no, like, you should be serious about it as well. So, I mean, a son, kind of, but I think, more saw himself in Brandon, I would say. So, but yeah.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I love that relationship a lot. Brandon was just such a good kid as well. Like the kid that I was trying to remember the name of, he was kind of like the comedic relief was Kenny. Like even the bits where like, Jack was just walking down the hall. He's like, Kenny, and then like out of nowhere, Kenny just like runs.
Coach,
out
why you gotta do me like that?
Why you gotta do me like that, man? Yeah. He's just like, you better hope that the no priests catch you. He's just like, no, coach, it gives me energy, man. It gives me that motivation. That was great. But even the scenes where Brandon was pulling Kenny into line, it's like, hurry up, get on the bus. Like things like that, the little notes. I thought that was great. But yeah, I thought this became such more than a team to Ben's. Like it was a bit cliche every now and then when he picked up a beer and then was like looking at a play, then put the beer down without drinking it. And I continued to work on the plays. I was like, I get the message.
Yeah, the driving to the bar, the sitting in the car, thinking about it, and just deciding not to go into the bar, and then ultimately going back to the bar.
Yeah, Yeah, that we knew that final downfall was coming. Also, how much of a legend was that guy that always helped him home?
Yeah, Doc. We didn't really learn
Yeah.
much about him other than he knew his father, but other than that, he's just some elusive character who seemed to only be there to help Jack home.
Yeah, exactly. But nah, all in all, I really like this film. I thought it was really great. Bit cliche in areas and a bit predictable.
I think these films are always going to be there. I don't think it's
absolutely,
even
and they are
possible
what
to
they
do.
are. Like it's in terms of predictable, in terms of inspirational sport movies. That's not really a downfall.
And even
know?
even the ones that are true stories, because it's just it's only going to be made into a film in the first place if there's ultimately a good ending, a happy ending. You know, whether it's the underdog rising to the occasion or whatever it is. So, I mean, yeah, they always are going to share these similar themes. I guess it would always just come down to, you know, the other aspects of the film, you know, performances, story, and things like that. Because you know, I often think of it's not like an action heavy sports drama, but I mean, it's technically a sports drama. But Moneyball, man, I fucking love that movie.
Moneyball's so good.
That is like
that's
it's not even. It doesn't really focus on the sport. I mean, it's about baseball, but at the same time, it's not. Like it's about like
it's about the trading periods.
And they also have like a lot of focus on like, well, you know, these people who are crunching numbers behind the scenes and ultimately recognizing players as just numbers in a spreadsheet, and how, you know, that, you know, when they confront that, then that's a bit, you know, things are way more real for others than it is for some people. And so, I mean, yeah, we're getting a little sidelined, but yeah, no, I think sport films in general are always going to suffer from this. Even the best ones like Creed and Creed 2, Rocky, ultimately they're all going to have a few cliches in there.
Which is not,
Rocky's an OG,
like,
so I mean that kind of set the standard, but
it started it, yeah.
So, Gavin O'Connor, I'm going to be watching what else he does with great interest. I wouldn't be surprised if him and Ben have a few more collaborations again in the future. They clearly work well together. Has any closing thoughts, sir?
No, you said it best, Tools. I really recommend people going to watch this. It's just another movie that's like best to pass time in quarantine, and like not just to pass time, it's to use your time well, I think. It's pretty damn cheap to rent. You know, you'd spend $15 minimum to go see a movie nowadays. So spending half of that and seeing a movie indoors, being safe and out from outside, and watching a good movie with good director and a damn good actor, like you know, it's money well spent in my eyes, Dools.
Couldn't agree more.
Do you want to talk about what we're going to review next?
Yes. What are we going to review next?
So, Onward is being dropped onto Disney Plus.
Oh, I believe, today. Yeah, beautiful.
So, we will be reviewing Pixar's Onward next week.
And then I think we could even, you know, we might be getting ahead of ourselves, but see how we go. I now owe you a film, and, you know, we could just do this moving forward. We can just take turns renting the films, but
sounds
we
good.
Definitely want to watch The Hunt at some point, whether that'll be a review, who knows. You know, we might do a game after Onward or a TV show. I definitely want to. I've been telling Haz I definitely want to be reviewing Westworld. I watched the most recent episode yesterday. It just gets crazier and crazier, and the set pieces, man. I mean, there is serious production value in this show. It's awesome. So because you'll have to watch season 2 as well. So
yeah, I know.
Bit of an ask. I mean, see how we go. If we're pressed for time, it's all good. But I mean, ideally, it would be good to review it pretty much on the heels of when it finishes. But
sure.
So Onward will be the next one. I'm keen for that. Pixar always delivers, and I've heard good things.
Yeah. Chris Pratt, Tom Holland, can't go wrong. So you can catch us on all your favorite podcast streaming services, mainly Spotify, iTunes, and Podbean. We are now on YouTube as well for every Wednesday and Friday release. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram for all your daily posts. Right, Dools? Daily?
Quasi-daily has. I mean, you know, will they appear during the day? Yeah, they will.
Fair enough. I'm Harry. Dools is Dools. You are you. We're the Mall Cops on duty.